Welcome to the $1 Million Career, where we help you plan, build, and move your professional career in the right direction. I've had with me returning guest host, Mr. Craig Picken. I'm sure everybody recognizes him now. How are you, brother?
I'm good. Happy Sunday. What's going on?
Did you do any surfing?
Went to the beach yesterday. There weren't any waves. So
no waves? What happened?
Yeah, man. There were just no waves. It's no, just not good surfing conditions. So my daughter and I went down. We went for a long swim.
Good, man.
And
Good.
Water temperature, it's nice. Water temperature is about 80 degrees. So
nice.
Get down there in the morning and you leave before the crowds get there. So
there you go,
great.
man.
I love it.
Good. Well, we're going to talk about coaching. This is a topic that's been in the news. A lot of my executive friends are being coached.
Yep.
Coaching is something that I'm very familiar with, being involved in competitive sports, high school, college,
yep.
As you were. Even in the military, we have coaches. They're called senior NCOs.
Yep.
And in business, coaching is becoming one of those things that everyone's doing. Of course, there's executive coaching, career coaching, life coaching. And, I was just thinking about this last week. There's so many people getting involved in this, both as coaches and people being coached. Is this really the next big thing, or is this a fad?
I was really excited when you texted me the other day and said you wanted to talk about this podcast. I was actually really excited to talk about the story, because at the end of the day, here's kind of where I think businesses lose it. They want to hire high functioning sales teams, but they never have coaches on there to keep their sales teams finely tuned to changing conditions. You think about it, a variety of sales teams. You and I were just talking about some tech providers, and they could use some coaching on customer service. Sales teams. If you go to the tech community, this is a big issue out in Silicon Valley right now. You've got CEOs of companies. They were the founder of the company. They understood the technology. They get the technology. They're geniuses when it comes to the technology, but they're idiots when it comes to building and growing teams.
It's funny you say that, because I've heard this before, particularly in a tech company. The first thing you can do as a new CEO founder is fire yourself and hire a professional CEO.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that is, that's the thing, it's, and you're seeing a big trend right now in executive coaching. There's a guy that I know he's out of Dallas. His name's Bill Koch.
Yeah,
Bill is he's a former CEO of AMR Combs, and a guy I've known for a long time. And he spends, he's sort of semi-retired, but semi-retired for him is 1,500 hours a year coaching for companies like American Airlines, Apple. He's got some amazing clients.
Yeah.
And that's his big thing is, you're either working in the business or you're working on the business, right?
Exactly.
And if you're too deep in the business, you're not working on the business, and you need help. It's very difficult. So
coaching is a lot different than consulting or teaching or advising.
Right.
Coaching is really where you take somebody almost on a journey of self-discovery, so that they can discover for themselves how to take corrective action, how to reach self-realization, how to get to know themselves so that they can reach self-actualization and make those changes that they're completely bought into.
Right. Well,
because it makes them accountable and responsible.
All right. So let's just take a pro football team, or pro basketball team, baseball, whatever. You've got professional athletes on the field, highly motivated, highly skilled. But what happened? Who gets fired when things start going south? It's the coach.
Yeah.
Because it's the coach who is the person that's supposed to be the glue that bonds the highly talented, highly motivated, highly skilled athletes together because you've got 10, you've got, 11 players on a field in football. You've got 11 different skill sets. And it's a coach that helps these people, glue those 11 skill sets into a cohesive unit.
Yeah.
I think that's, and I don't think that, that's, none of my clients they don't have any professional coaching coming in. They don't,
Here's the other thing too. I mean, you made a brilliant observation about sales teams. So I place insurance people. Okay.
Right.
I place sales producers. I've placed 3 producers in the last year, and none of those salespeople have a coach. So because I want to help these people, I want them to be successful. I just really like these people.
Right.
I've been coaching each one of the 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And each one, I had one of the gals on my show probably 6 weeks ago, Kim Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And Kim told me, she goes, without your coaching, I'd be dead in the water, because I'm coaching her on how to be a better salesperson.
You think
I'm not teaching her. I'm not consulting her. I'm not advising her. I'm coaching her. Like, Kim, think about it. Where do you want to be in 90 days? How do you want to get there? What are some things you could do better? So I'm not giving her any technical advice. I'm just pulling it out of her. And she told me, she goes, everything I put together in my business plan, I've come up with myself through your guidance. And she even read my book, Extreme Ownership. She goes, and now I extremely own it because I built it.
Yeah.
But you're right. You would think that these sales teams would have a coach, but a lot of them don't. They get sales training. Here's the
sales
book.
training. Well, what is sales training? Go take your typical corporation in America. What is sales? What do? They have a sales meeting once a year. And they go rent out the Hyatt in downtown Chicago, and they fly everybody in. They, feed them some dinner. They feed them some drinks. They get a motivational speaker who comes in, and they do this little rah-rah.
Right.
And then they throw these numbers up on the board. And then they say, okay, this is our strategy for the next year.
Yeah.
And then everybody gets home. They walk in, they kiss their wives or their spouses, they pet the dog, and they forgot everything they just did. But the company goes, yay, we had amazing, they get all on LinkedIn and social media. We had amazing sales training. It's like, you had a sugar high, man. You had a 48-hour sugar high. That's all you did.
Yeah. I've got another client, one of my best clients. I'm not going to mention her name. Man, these guys have it together. They sit down with their salespeople and they have a meeting of the minds about what could be done in the coming year, in the coming quarter, the coming 6 months. What resources do you need? And they tell the salespeople, think about it. What resources do you really want? Do you want more travel? Do you want more training? Do you want more leads? Do you want more enhancements to the Salesforce.com, CRM platform? Like, what do you need? So they're completely bought in.
Yeah.
And they ask them, like, what do you, what are some things that you could do or want to do in the next year to get you to where you want to be? So they get that feedback.
Yeah.
And then they help them out. Okay, we're going to give you this, this, and this. That's coaching.
So let's go back to the sales thing real quick.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to take it a different level. Trust. There's generally a lack of trust.
Yeah.
Between, look, salespeople are, they're different animals. And then you take salespeople versus leadership, management, or, salespeople versus corporate, leadership. And there's always a little bit of, like I said, salespeople are typically different animals. But what if you put a sales coach in there? 10 salespeople or 100, or if you're Pfizer, 1,000, and you had a couple of them or whatever, right? And they were truly independent. They were there to do nothing but coach salespeople. Let's talk about your pipeline. Let's talk about your deals. Let's talk about your troubles. Let's talk about your most difficult client, or the deal you want the most or struggling with the most. And let's walk through scenarios to get you there. And let's talk about how, we're going to make you a better salesperson. There's a coach confidentiality there. It's not, he's not reporting back to management. This person's good. This person's not good. They're not going to make it, whatever else. Sole job is to help the company by helping the sales teams.
Yep.
Now let's kick it up a little bit more. CEO of a startup, mid-size, or even a bigger company, board of directors, the board of directors is there to sort of, the CEO, they're the CEO's boss. What if you brought a coach in and said, hey, look, we help this guy make the best decisions, right? And, most really good CEOs, if you ever read Wall Street Journal, I think it's on Saturday, it comes out. I love it.
Manager's Corner.
Yeah. They talk about who, if you're Ken Griffin at Citadel, who do you call when you need advice? And they talk about the 5 persons. You see their neighborhood. What's the neighborhood that they hang out with, right?
You're the average of the 5 people you hang out with.
Yeah. And so, that's their coach. They go, hey, I'll call if I'm in a real bad spot, I'll call up, this guy or this lady or whatever.
Yeah.
And they get their sort of informal coaching.
And the other thing too is you were onto something, but you went a different direction. I'm going to take it. Instead of taking a left turn, I'm going to take a right turn on that same road you're on.
Sure.
The other thing it does with your salespeople or anybody, it makes them more self-reliant because now they're in control.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to go to the sales manager. They don't have to receive everything top down. It becomes more of a bottom-up organization. So if you have 15 salespeople, if they've been properly coached,
mm-hmm.
and they properly bought in to everything, if part of the sales plan is their plan,
mm-hmm.
they're going to be a lot more independent and operate a lot more self-reliantly,
mm-hmm.
which helps the people on top because it gives the sales manager or the group leader additional free time to do what he wants to do. So it not only helps the sales force, but it helps the sales leader too, because it makes his underlying sales staff more self-reliant.
What's the hottest movie right now in the movie theaters?
It's got to be Top
I'll give
Gun.
you, there you go.
Maverick.
Top Gun.
Maverick. Yeah.
So, all right. So what is Top Gun? I'll give you the reality of what Top Gun is. Top Gun is a coaching mechanism where squadron pilots go to Top Gun and they get coached. They get coached on weapons, tactics, different scenarios, and they become, very, very proficient in the use of their weapon, which is an airplane. It's not really dogfighting anymore, just dogfighting. It's air to ground, it's whatever. And then what those newly coached pilots are supposed to do is go back to their squadron, and it's not strut around like a chicken. I'm their rooster. I'm the best of the best. I've been to Top Gun. Their job is to now coach junior pilots.
Right, exactly.
So you think about, coaches, teaching future coaches who are then teaching junior people. Well, that's the benefit of really great coaching in an organization, is it filters down throughout the organization. It makes the organization better.
It's funny how the Navy and the Army are different but they're similar in many ways. I'll give you an example. Okay. Army. That's what my background is. Army Special Forces. What they do is they train the trainers. So popular belief is a Green Beret is a direct action shooter, such as a Marine, a Ranger, or a SEAL team guy. Okay. Mm-hmm. Those are all direct action people. Mm-hmm. A typical Green Beret, and they do have direct action people, but 90% of those guys train the trainers. It's called unconventional warfare. Mm-hmm. When an ODA team, when a team of 12 Green Berets or a company of like 4 or 5 ODAs goes downrange, okay? When they engage with the local indigenous forces, they train those forces how to fight. So they're training the training. It's the ultimate in force multiplication, because a team of Green Berets, 12 Green Berets, can coach, mentor, train several hundred people.
Sure.
It's the same concept. And you know what? It's amazing how when we do these shows, $1 Million Career, we always come back to either special ops or naval aviation, because that's where the rubber meets the road, man. I mean, you have to do things the right way or else people die.
Well, look, naval aviation is written in blood, so everything, and when I say it's written in blood, I'll tell you a great example. Here's something that just happened. E-2 Hawkeye crashed, did a water landing off the coast of Maryland a couple months ago. 2 pilots got out, 1 guy died.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And I'll tell you exactly what happened to the guy that died. Yeah, because I see the Hawkeyes in the background. He was a pilot who had never flown in the back end of the airplane. In the back end of the airplane, on the starboard side, is an escape hatch for the 3 NFOs. So if the airplane ever did water landing, if you're aircraft carriers, water landing, the NFOs could get out through the top hatch in the back. Well, you've got some pilot who's never really paid attention to the back end of the airplane. He doesn't know that there's a hatch back there, doesn't know how to use it. 2 guys get out front. He can't get up to the front to get out their escape hatches. He doesn't know whether there's one in the back. So you think about, it's written in blood. Now, a new rule will come out that everybody that rides in the back will have to know how to use the escape hatch. So you think about training people, training, coaching people. What is the benefit? It's not a cost. It can save lives.
Right.
You coach. It can save money. It can make you a trash load of money. You think about, hey, what happens if I bring a great sales coach in and I want him or her touching every one of my salespeople, or if I've got a big sales team, I bring them in and touch my salespeople twice a week. What could that do for me? It's an investment. It's not a cost. It can be an investment.
Oh, you're right. I got this. I've been taking some notes here. So I've got this boiled down to 5 things I think that coaching can really do to benefit the company or an individual. You tell me what you think, Craig. So number 1, it builds ownership into taking actions. You're accountable. Number 2, as we discussed, you become self-reliant. You're able to operate independently because coaching, gets you to that self-realization. So you come up with your own solutions. So you own it. You become more self-reliant. You contribute more to a team. You contribute more to your organization because you're more effective and you're more productive now because, again, you own it. And the last one is accountability and responsibility. If you're coached, like a Bill Belichick would coach somebody or a Bill Parcells, those players own it, man.
Yep.
They own it and they are responsible. And that has a way of moving up the chain of command.
Yeah.
Or up into the executive office. So
that's
my take.
But how many people out there do you know in this world, in business, who have ever, I wish I had thought about it when I was 30 years old and just coming into industry. And I was probably, more arrogant than intelligent. I mean, I look back and I go, ooh, I look at a lot of my stuff when I was younger and I'm like, oh, I was really dumb. I wish somebody had said to me, hey, Craig, go spend $5,000 on a personal coach, on a business coach. Outside the company, you can talk to them freely. You can say, this is what I'm doing or whatever else. I think about things a little differently. I'm like, so that's kind of like, me, I talk to people about, go pay for a conference, go to a conference, learn something, go pay for a coach.
Yeah.
Go find a mentor.
It's amazing that an entire football team or a basketball team has a coach, but an entire sales team doesn't.
Football team has a head coach, assistant coach, a quarterback coach, a running back coach, a linebacker coach.
How many coaches does Tom Brady have? I know he's got a performance coach.
He's got a
He's got
performance coach.
a nutritional coach.
You know,
He's got I think he's got like a philosophy coach or something that helps him on meditation. It's incredible.
but no, I think this is the next, this is the next, I think this is something that's going to start to really, hit a lot of people and like, hey, look, maybe, they already, they already go and they pay for fitness trainers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's like, I'll go pay for a fitness trainer. Well, okay. I mean, you think about the reality of it. They already know how to lift weights or run on a treadmill or, bench pressing isn't that hard of the concept of bench pressing isn't that hard, right?
Yeah.
But the coach is the one that gets you to the total fitness. So that's the one mistake I always see. That's one area where I always think that businesses could get better.
It's coaching, absolutely. And there's different kinds of coaching too. So if you're an executive out there, there's two ways that you could get coached. Number one is traditional executive coaching. Now, traditional executive coaching is when the executive coach does a contract with your HR department or your board of directors or somebody in your organization that of course pays for it because they want to make an investment in you
Yep.
as the executive. So the executive coach comes in and it's really a three-party arrangement. It's you who's being coached, the coach himself or herself, and the sponsor who's probably HR, let's say. Now, some people have a little bit of an issue with that because who's ever paying me, like I'm an executive coach, right? If my client is paying me to coach Jim Smith is going to be thinking, geez, I don't know if I could tell Rob everything because Rob has the relationship with the HR person.
Right.
So it puts me in a strange spot. It puts everyone in a strange spot. So that's option one. Okay. Option two is a life coach. So a life coach would be where Jim Smith would just contract with me.
Right.
Outside of the office. And we could talk about business stuff too, of course, but he's paying me instead of the organization. So with that, he or she gets a lot more freedom, increased confidentiality. So there's two ways to actually do coaching, either executive coaching or life coaching.
But I think that the company, when the company is paying for the executive coach, this is where the friction comes in, is because they expect, they want to come back and, what's the company doing? Hey, how's he doing? Or how's she doing? Of course.
Yes.
Are they learning? Are they going to make it? Are they not going to make it? What are this? And the coach has got to say, hey, look, we're working on three things: how to make this person a better team leader, how to make this person respond better to, fluid situations, whatever the deal is. But the coach can't be, what's the word I want to say? They can't be saying, hey, it's like, it's all in confidence.
Yeah.
And if you want the person being coached to respond well, they have to know that, one, they're imperfect. Everybody's imperfect. Two, there are some things that the company really sees. There's a lot of potential that the company sees in you that they want to develop.
Right.
So think of that as an opportunity to get a whole lot better. And three, that's, well, really, that's it. It's something the company wants to see. And three, go with it with open eyes, because it's something that it's not, it's not a punitive thing. It's really hey, we see a lot of opportunity. We see a lot of potential in you. We want to make you better. Let us help you.
Yeah, there's a lot of, as an executive coach, if you have an existing relationship with that organization, it's definitely a tightrope.
Yeah, it is. It is a tightrope.
Because like you and I are executive search consultants. We have a company that's paid us $40,000 on a placement. And we go in and we coach Jim Smith. and we take Jim down this road of self-discovery. He comes to self-realization. And at the end of like a month, Jim Smith decides, you know what? I'm not really a sales guy. I want to go to Europe and be a painter. That's what I really, really want to do. And Rob, thanks a lot for bringing me down this road of self-discovery, because I finally found out what I want to do. And then I go to the client says, hey, Rob, we just paid you 40 grand and now you convinced this guy to go to Europe to be a painter. What the hell?
Yeah. And you say, you know, it was $40,000 well spent, because you find out you had an employee that you were putting a lot of importance on an employee who had no business being there in the first place.
Right. And then they say, well, Rob, that's what the hell we pay you for, to find somebody that's going to be successful.
Yeah. But that's the thing. So, you know, but it's like this. So a couple months ago, yeah, I told you about the guy in my office building knocked on my door.
Yeah.
And, he's 295 pounds, and he just went to the doctor, and life got in the way. Yeah. He's fat. He was out of shape. His, cholesterol was off. His blood pressure and cholesterol were through the roof. And he came and knocked on my door, and he said, hey, for the last couple of years, you've been saying if I ever wanted to go to the gym with you.
Yeah. It's a great story.
Can you do it? So yeah, sure. Can I? Yeah, come on, let's go. A couple of things have happened. Let me tell you exactly what happened. So one, I started coaching him, putting workouts together. We have, so here's the results. If someone were to come and say, how's he doing? I would just say that the numbers speak for themselves. He's down 65 pounds. His blood pressure is back within the range of normal limits. His cholesterol is very healthy level now. It's the results speak for themselves, right? But here's what's happening to me now. And I love it. He's challenging me. The guy who was being coached is now challenging me.
Yeah.
And saying, let's do something. Let's do one more, or let's do this.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. I love it. And now we've brought somebody else in who was 240 pounds. And we brought him in and showed him how to do it. And it's sort of the same thing now. It's like, coaching helps coaching. It's like, I think helping people makes you better. When you teach somebody, teachers get better by teaching. It makes them better people.
Well, there's a gospel saying out there, or maybe it's a parable. I'm not a reader of the Bible, but the one that I remember is, I think Jesus told somebody, give a man a fish, feed him for a day.
Mm-hmm.
Coach him how to fish.
Teach him how
feed
to
him
fish.
For a lifetime.
Feed him for a lifetime, right?
I'm not sure if he used the actual word coach, but I think it was teach, actually. Yeah.
But what happens when you take your best finance person in your company and you say, hey, look, you're awesome. Go mentor these junior finance people. Show them how to do FP&A. Great. Show them how to whatever your goal is. You've got these awesome skills. Go show these awesome skills to the younger people in the organization. What does that do? That elevates your senior finance person, and it helps elevate the other people. And then all of a sudden the other people, as they see the light, they go, I got it. They start to challenge. They start to pay back the organization.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
a lot of it is, when you coach executives, it's really helping them motivate their direct reports too. Mm-hmm. It's really coaching them how to do it. I made a list of a few things here. Increasing workers' sense of ownership and accountability. The best ways to recruit and retain top talent. Creating more autonomy in their direct reports. Mm-hmm. Reducing a high turnover rate. Here's one I've worked on before. Helping somebody transition into a new position of leadership. Mm-hmm. Coaching is very effective in that, in that regard. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you think about companies. Yeah. What do young people want today? Young people want to know that they're not they're not on a path to nowhere. They want to go somewhere with their lives. They want to make a difference in the world. And where do you get that? You get it from your mentors. I was thinking about this the other day, and it was once again, if you're a professional bodybuilder or something, who are you hanging out with in the world? Probably other professional bodybuilders who make you better, right?
Yep.
If you're, you remember the old proverbial Chicago Bears, on Saturday Night Live, the Bears, who are you hanging out with? The beer drinking Bears fan, right?
Jim McMahon and Mike Singletary.
And that's why I'm a big believer, companies, I think, would do themselves, small businesses, would do themselves a lot of favors by setting up really good mentoring programs.
Yeah. Yeah. Mentoring and coaching are similar, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. They certainly are.
Yeah.
You're helping to elevate somebody, and that's somebody you elevate may not stick around your organization for a lot of reasons, but they will always have a positive viewpoint of your organization.
I think the positive thing about an organization providing executive coaching for one of their individuals, for one of their employees, is number one, it demonstrates to the employee that we're looking out for you. We're going to invest in you. We value you as an employee. That's huge now. Huge. And number two, it provides them with a platform to, achieve or gather a lot of information on that employee through interactions, because the coach is going to talk with them.
Right.
So it's almost a no-brainer. I mean, it's not that expensive either. I mean, most executive coaches charge, anywhere from like $250 an hour to like $1,500 an hour. And to me, it's worth it. How much is it worth it to lose one of your top salespeople?
A lot. Or your top ops person, or your top, once again, what do people want? They want to be valued in the organization. I'm not saying you have to go spend a whole lot of money on a coach for everybody, but you take the people that, that are going to make a difference. You set up really good mentoring programs. Those are free. Okay, it might cost you, a couple dinners a year or whatever, hey, thank you for being a great mentor to some of these employees. You made a difference in our lives, but those are free. And then you could talk about other things, professional coaching, whatever, you budget it, we're going to take, for our sales team, great. For our ops teams, great. All of our general managers, we're a multi-division company. We've got general managers in 10 different states. We're going to set them up. Cool. We're going to, the CEO for the board of directors. We want to make sure that you don't feel alone on an island. So we want to give you somebody that's better looking than ourselves, that you can speak with freely about how you are dealing with situations, because I'll tell you straight up, it is lonely at the top. Everybody thinks that the CEO role is, it's all great. I'm like, it's lonely up there.
Yeah. Coaching is really about, at the end of the day, about enabling and empowering.
Yep.
That's all it is. Enabling and empowering an individual to create their own solutions and then extremely own that solution. And I think that's where a professionally trained executive coach or a life coach is valuable, because it's easy for a company to tell a few of their people, hey, go out and mentor our people. But if they don't know how to mentor, because it is a skill, or they don't know how to coach, they can be actually, creating more harm than good.
Well, that's the first thing, is people want to coach. And what do they really want to do? They want to whine. It's not therapy, it's coaching. My boss sucks. Well, let's forget about your boss and talk about you for a while.
One of the things about coaching is you have to make sure at the very early stage that the person you're coaching is bought in.
Yep.
And the way you do that is, for instance, I had a guy that said, hey, I want to get my college degree. I said, well, what's preventing you from getting that? Well, I don't have the time. I'm working too much overtime. I don't have the money. I can't quit my job and get an MBA and you know, all this stuff. And I said, well, let's start off very simply. For the next week, I want you to spend a half an hour on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday doing the initial research on what some online programs could possibly be.
Right.
Okay, that's all you got to do. And they did it.
Yep.
Very small task. The next week, okay, I want you to actually contact one of these online organizations and spend an hour 3 times a week.
Mhm.
And then I just built this individual up from like 0 to like 60 days, 8 weeks. He had a complete plan. He was like motivated, figured
Mhm.
out he was going to get a part-time job. He
Mhm.
was going to do this, he was going to do that. And he's on his way, but you have to start out small. But if a company says, go mentor this guy, they're not going to have the tools. They're not going to have the know-how, how to actually coach somebody, how to get to that enablement and empowerment stage. Because if you don't
Yeah.
enable and empower them, it's going to be a bunch of information that they probably, you know, try to implement over a
Yeah.
very short period of time, and then it kind of drifts away and they gravitate back to the mean.
Right. Yeah, you can no, they got to be bought in. The person's got to be bought in, got to be motivated to
Yeah.
to be coached. There's some people out there you're just not going to, you know, they don't want to be coached. They, you know, they're nothing wrong with me. I'm good. I'm perfect.
Yeah.
It's very low self-realization. You know, and nothing is forever. You know, it's you know, look, I've paid for coaches over. I've been in business 14 years. I've had 3 or 4 coaches. And, you know, ultimately the coach teaches you what they know. They get to a certain point where they can't teach anymore because they've taught you everything they know. So it's time to move on to a different coach, right? Hey, look, nothing personal.
Here's the thing about coaching. So if a coach gets to the point where the coach thinks that I've already given this person all the information I possibly can,
Yeah.
they're probably not a good coach, because the whole point of coaching is not to give your information.
Right.
It's to get that person enabled and empowered for them to come up with their own solution
Bingo.
based upon their information,
Yeah.
based upon their experiences. Because once they do that, they're going to come up with a completely different solution than the coach would have.
Mhm.
And it's going to be something that came from within them that they can own,
Yeah.
and then they can implement it, because then that's when they get excited. That's
Mhm.
when the magic happens, is when they have the epiphany.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. Why didn't I think of that? Son of a bitch, you know? Wow.
Yeah.
That's what you want. You want the epiphany, that wow, because you want them to come up with it. So you made a great point. If a coach gets to the point where the coach is thinking, you know, I've given this person everything I can, but you know what? That's not a coach. That's a consultant, because a consultant comes packed with the information,
Right.
the know-how, the matrix, the bubble chart.
Yeah.
It has a beginning and an end,
Mhm.
whereas coaching has a beginning. And that's what the difference between coaching and consulting and advising is. And that's why it really is a skill. A lot of people think they could coach, but unless you know how to actually do this, unless you're trained,
Mhm.
you could actually be doing more harm than good.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt at all. That's why I'm like, mentor programs are mentor programs.
Yeah.
Go find people in your company who are all-star players, and go find the people you want to be all-star players, and you put them all in the same room for, forevermore.
Yeah, that's where you
And
start mimicking. That's a different way to do it too. That's more mimicking. I mean, you know what it is? Actually, it's a combination of all these things.
well, my first advice, I mentor college kids.
Yeah, right.
And then I've had some people call me up and, hey, can you help me out, mentor me a little bit? I'm like, yeah, sure. First thing I do is I find out who they hang out with.
There you go.
Who do you hang out with? And they tell me, all right. I told this to my niece. I said, ditch your loser friends. I mean, very harsh way of saying it. I'm like, ditch your loser friends. Ones who are going out to the bar every night, the ones who bring you down, the ones who And here's what I told her. She's out in San Diego. I said, look, you're a bright young lady. Graduated from prestigious university. You're in San Diego. So why don't you get online and go find professional networking groups or groups where professionals hang out together.
Yeah,
Get off the beach and get off Ocean Beach, get out of Ocean Beach, which is surfer paradise. Look, there's nothing, if you want to be a surfer in the world, Ocean Beach is the place to be. If you want to be a writer, go find other writers, learn how to be a better writer. Ditch your loser friends who are bringing you down.
what was a great example that I just saw this documentary. It's unbelievable. I recommend anybody who likes to read fiction, particularly Hemingway. I've read everything that Hemingway has ever written. He's always been my favorite writer. Hemingway and Tolstoy. So Hemingway, what he did, he was a newspaper writer for the Kansas City Star, and he just wanted to write books. He knew it from the time he was a kid.
Mhm.
He wanted to be a great writer. They tried to give him a promotion. He was a phenomenal reporter, wrote great articles, had a column. People loved Hemingway. This is when he was a kid, 21, 22 years old. Hemingway made a decision that would forever shape the rest of his life. He met someone, Sherwood Anderson, who actually lived in Chicago, as a mentor. And Sherwood Anderson told this young Hemingway, go to Paris. Go to Paris. Because in the 1920s, post-World War I, that's where all the great writers and artists and painters
Sure.
were. It was a huge artist colony right there in Paris. He goes,
Mhm.
do whatever you got to do, but you go to Paris.
Mhm.
That's where you want to hang out with. And Sherwood said, if you're willing to do that, I'll give you 3 letters of recommendation.
Yeah.
And he gave Hemingway 3 letters of recommendation. Hemingway put together what little money he had, left a brilliant career with the Kansas City Star, which at that time was like the Washington Post or the LA Times or the New York Times,
Mhm.
Wall Street Journal. Got on a plane with his wife. He had just married, Hadley Richardson, shows up in Paris, lived in squalor, was eating pigeons, and just hung out at cafes and just met all kinds of like fabulous writers and artists.
Yeah.
And he found inspiration for his writing in art,
Yeah.
in paintings. And the rest is history, man. He was the average of not only the 5 people he hung out with, but with like the 50 people that he hung out with, because they were all other writers and painters.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
That's exactly how you do it.
Yeah, that's it. I'm watching Breaking Bad right now.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding. Huh?
Yeah, you notice the crack addicts hang out with the crack addicts, right?
Exactly.
There's nothing good happening there. So, but on the flip side, like I said, I saw that, professional bodybuilders hang out with professional bodybuilders. You've got professional business people that hang out with professional business people. And you've got entrepreneurs that hang out with entrepreneurs. It's all about the relationships, and they coach each other and they bring each other up, and they offer advice. And that's, and if you can't find that in your life, go hire a coach, go find somebody. I mean, but that's my big thing is like these failing companies or these companies that are really struggling. A lot of times I just say, what are you doing? What are you doing to change it?
Yeah.
You've been through 4 COOs in the last 9 months or 18 months. Okay. Why are you bringing in COOs and having them leave?
This is a great topic, man. We could talk about this. We could talk about life coaching. We could talk about career coaching, executive coaching. There's also performance development coaching, which would be an interesting topic, but I appreciate, all your perspectives on this. Appreciate all your vignettes of people that you've coached, both wittingly and unwittingly.
Yeah. I
love the story about the guy losing the weight. Now I weigh 222 pounds, man. But I'm 6'5".
Yeah, he's not 6'5".
I'm supposed to weigh 222.
But like I said, it comes to me now from a personal point of view. He's private equity. Very, very successful private equity person. Unbelievably successful.
He must be doing a lot better now too, right?
Yeah, well, he's in pharma. I kick ideas to him. He mentors me. In the gym, he challenges me. So there's payback there. I mean, I never did it with any intent on, hey, yeah, come on, work out with me. I'll show you if you need to get healthy, let's get you healthy. But then all of a sudden, what came back to me, I'm like, he's like very appreciative to me for helping him lose all the weight. I'm like, don't thank me, man. I got to thank you.
Exactly.
So that's what it all comes down to. So
Exactly.
I enjoy it.
All right, brother. Hey, again, hey, so how do people get a hold of you, Craig?
It's always the same. Craig at northstaresg.com. I'm on LinkedIn. Phone number is 910-231-4037.
And you specialize in aerospace and aviation, correct?
Aviation and aerospace. Yep.
It's going to be another $1 million a year for you.
It's going to be that. Yep.
Wow.
So there we go.
God love you, man. So people can get a hold of me. The usual, Rob at mrfairfax.com. Website's www.mrfairfax.com. We're on LinkedIn. We're all over the place. Podcasts, $1 Million Career, blogs. Go to the website, www.mrfairfax.com. Until next week, Craig, hit the beaches, man.
All good. Happy summer.
All right, brother.
Talk soon, Rob.